Hello, friends, and welcome to the 26th episode of All New Snap Judgments. As always, I am Roy Rogers, and joining me today is my friend and yours, the one and only Aaron Glazer. Glazer, my friend, I feel like I just spoke to you just a few short days ago because I did just speak to you just a few short days ago. We're doing these episodes in rapid order. But it does feel like the world turned upside down in Marvel Snap in just those few short days. So how are you doing on these sort of interesting times in the Snapverse?
I'm doing great. I feel like I'm West Philadelphia born and raised. But other than that, things are going really well.
Yeah, I mean, the Eagles did win yesterday. It was great. All right. And who is joining us today as our very special guests?
We have a ridiculously international episode. I think our most international episode ever. In the middle of the night, the one, the only Devilish Plays joins us. How you doing, Devilish?
Good, I'm good, thank you. Finally pleased to be here. It's been a while coming. I know we've been chatting for many months, so it's nice to be able to actually schedules align and I can actually attend to this one.
And you have to stay awake all episode. Since you're going to stay awake all episode, how can our viewers/listeners find you should they like to become your viewers?
So I stream most evenings on Twitch, so twitch.tv/Devilish Play. And other than that, social media is probably on Twitter in the main. So I don't know if we say x.com anymore, but on Twitter I'm
Twitter is good.
at Devilish_Plays with an S on the end. So couldn't have the S on Twitch, unfortunately. Someone else has stolen it.
All right. We are also joined all the way from Vietnam. Singapore. What the hell? Sorry. I had that in my head right, and the second I opened my mouth, the wrong one came out. Sorry. First day back at work, my brain turned off. We are joined by the one, the only. You might know him from Twitch as Snapcaster Tobi, or from Twitter as Tobi1Kenobi. How you doing?
I'm good. And how are you all? A quick story for me, baby. Lots of you guys doesn't know me well. So I'm Tobi. I'm sure Marvel Snap players don't know me well, as sure. And I will share a short story about myself. So I started playing Magic the Gathering in 1994. Okay, and as I progress, I become more competitive. Okay. So I was won on 2017 in Dubai Magic the Gathering in top 8. So which is a really big achievement for me as a person. As life goes on, I retired Magic the Gathering and went for digital gaming like Hearthstone and League of Runeterra. So I was thankful that I started playing card games, so it was easy to me to understand to play more efficiency and how to value cards when playing. Yeah, that's my story. Then you can find me at Twitter. I'm most active there as at Tobi1Kenobi and streaming around 3 times a week. As much as possible, I'm streaming 3 times a week at Snapcaster_Tobi.
Cool. Welcome to the show.
Yeah.
Roy.
All right, loyal listeners and loyal viewers, if you want to engage with us on the various social medias that exist today, we are on Elon Musk's Hell site, whatever alphabet letter it is currently being called, at SnapJudgeCast. We are the official podcasting partner of Marvel Snap Zone, the official podcast of Marvel Snap Zone, and we are so proud of our affiliation with them. And we invite you to join us on their Discord, which is the best large Discord in all of Marvel Snap. It is a great community. Glazer is in there all the time, updating you about our weird recording schedule, among many other things. So please click the link in the the description of this YouTube episode or the description found on your friendly neighborhood podcaster. Join the Discord. We'd really appreciate it. You can also reach us via email at snapjudgmentspodcast@gmail.com. We're also on everyone's favorite extinct animals social media network, Mastodon, at Snap Judgments with an E at tabletop.vip. And last but not least, you may have found us through Marvel Snap Zone's YouTube, where you can watch the YouTube video of this episode. But we also have a show's own YouTube at Snap Judgments Pod, where Glazer, each and every day and many weekend days as well, produces a different full show Snap take, going between 20 to 30 minutes of high quality content almost every single day, and certainly every weekday. Glazer, what would if our loyal listeners became our loyal viewers of our YouTube, what would they find on the YouTube right now?
So I think the coolest thing right now is, as far as I know, we're the only YouTube that does tournament breakdowns. So we had the Impulse Pro Series 2, and the video from this Monday was a review of the top 4 decks and the data from the tournament. All right. From there, let's get started with, I would assume this won't take long, but our first topic of discussion is our new card of the week, as it always is. We've got Martyr. Martyr is Series 4, 3,000 tokens. At the end of the game, move to a location that loses, and I like that they put loses in all caps, loses you the game if possible. Tobi, let's start with you. What do you think of Martyr?
Okay, when I saw this card, and I saw some reviews for this one, I know lots of players starting to get more frustrated for this card. If you can see the bigger picture, okay, this card is 1/4, which is a big stats for me. But the only problem here is the ability. So the best way to use her is to shut her to shut the ability up. Okay, you need to shut her down. It was a perfect sense. Okay, the card that I have 2 cards in mind that you can shut her down, which is the Professor X. Okay. And then 0. Okay. Because just imagine turn 3, you can put Martyr. And then turn 5, you can put Professor X. So it's a good deal for the one lane. But if the stats is still not enough, you can follow up with Jeff. Okay. But Martyr, for me, is much applicable in Shuri deck because turn 1 Shuri, turn 1 0, and then turn 2 Martyr, you can shut him down already. So that's all for me for Martyr.
Devilish?
Yeah, you covered a lot of the explanation there that I was going to mention. So, from a card, when I look at the cards up against the other November cards, it feels obviously weaker than most that's come out. So, I see obviously some of the community out there and some of the comments and stuff people are saying about it's pretty weak, and there's a lot of people saying they're just not going to pull cashes for it. When you look at kind of what's coming in the next few weeks, there's a lot stronger cash weeks than this one would be. So I don't think it's just Martyr necessarily on its own in terms of how popularity is going to be. I think people aren't necessarily pulling for her because the who else is in the spotlights. This week isn't the greatest when you look at what's coming next. So I think there is potential decks that she can play in. As you've mentioned there, some of the lockdown decks can play her. She can play in the Shuri decks. I mean, is she, if you doubled up even Martyr onto Shuri, if she's an 8, she's not likely to lose you the game even if she does move. So I think that alone stops her from moving if you've got nothing else you can play into Shuri. But or even things like some of the Zoo decks, potentially, the cards that you playing at the end, I imagine, or even I was kind of thinking of a player on turn 5 and then Ultron turn 6 and fill the board. So that way if you've got stuff that can buff those ones, you're laughing. But I have a feeling this may be a card that actually sees some power later on once other cards come out, like Kaera and things like that later on. So I don't think necessarily she's going to be the most played or the most popular for now, but We don't know when she'll be back. And again, it's one of those, if you do decide to skip and it turns out later on she gets a buff, as has happened in the past with other cards that haven't been so strong, then, are people going to be missing out on that a little bit? So that's kind of, I think I'm probably gonna try for her. Only because I still don't have Jean Grey, and that's also in the caches this week. So I think it's worthwhile me gambling a cache or two and seeing if I can get at least one of the two. If I get both, brilliant. I certainly won't be spending all four. So I kind of think it's got potential, but I don't think it's the strongest card right now, and it's certainly not the strongest we've seen in the last few weeks at all.
All right. So I get this. I'm getting this card because I get all the cards. I make content on things, so I need to be able to test things. If I didn't, I wouldn't. This card is going to get buffed, and I'll tell you exactly when this card is going to get buffed. This card is going to get buffed the exact same time as Captain Marvel is. They're going to buff Captain Marvel at some point to a 4/5, a 5/7, a 5/8, a 6/10 at some point. When they buff Captain Marvel, I believe that they're going to keep Martyr in parallel. When they first spoiled this, Captain Marvel was a 5/6, and it came down with Captain Marvel. I truly believe that is their design space for this card as like the equal and opposite counterplay to Captain Marvel, so that like you could even potentially play both in the same deck. In which point ordering is just a nightmare. But if she comes out first, she will move somewhere to lose you the game. Then Captain Marvel will move to that place to hopefully win you the game. Because if the 4 would lose you the game, then the 4 would win you. You know what I mean? Which is still a win. So like my working assumption is that's the design space that they're going for here. I think it's annoying, and honestly, like the juice isn't worth the squeeze. I just don't believe it's worth it to grab right now. But look, it's a card, and there's remarkably few absolutely terrible cards. I will say, though, that I think this week is the single worst week of Spotlight caches they've ever had.
Hot take. I just think this card's too narrow for Spotlight caches or 3K tokens. Like, at some point, if Series drops ever return, I think this is a perfectly great Series 3 card, but I definitely don't think it's worth resources. Like, I think all of what both Tobi and Devilish, and to a lesser extent Glazer, has laid out as possibilities to play the card, I think are all kind of spot on. But, like, is a slight upgrade to Professor X strategies, like, really worth 3K tokens in this economy? I truly do not know, and would say probably not, particularly because I think, as we'll get to, this could be a good transition point. December is a pretty lit month, and January, I think, is an even more lit month. I think resources are going to be very scarce, and people should save their caches. And hopefully, at some point, Martyr will come back in a more desirable week that you can pull her off a cache with a better card.
So before we transition on, I'm just going to offer our guess. We'll start with Devilish this time. Do you have anything you'd like to add, and you can say no or yes, whatever, about either Ms. Marvel, Gladiator, or Annihilus, the rest of this month's cards?
So I quite enjoyed the start of this month, but I think where I've got to with the last week and a half, and I think this is kind of a common thing, in a lot what that I'm seeing across the community is, I think I'm just bored of playing against things like Loki, etc. So Annihilus coming in changed things a little bit for a week, where people start playing junk and start playing around with that, and I quite enjoy playing cards that allow me to have some fun. As much as Ms. Marvel coming out is a very strong card, it quickly found a place in a bit of a lockdown deck. So in that lockdown deck, it basically left us with, again, not being able to play the cards you want on turn 6. Someone drops a liar for something to block it. So, I want to be able to play the cards I want to play. So that's kind of where I am with them that have come out. Gladiator hasn't been great. I did get the card, played with it for a few days. pretty much went straight into the bin. Hasn't been used that much, and I've not seen much of it played against me either. But yeah, I mean, Miss Marvel is pretty strong. It's like having a mini Doom, and if you can double that up with Mystique and then hit Doom afterwards as well, you've got a pretty decent spread of power across 3 lanes, and good luck to your opponent. That's kind of how I've been playing her and trying to see if I can spread the power as much as I can on those ones. So, but yeah, I think out of the cards, she's been the strongest. Annihilus has been fun to play, but again, not the strongest. There's a few play lines, but it's very, very, very scripted. So easy to counter against for those that are set up for that. But yeah, that's where I am with November cards.
Toby?
Thanks. No thoughts about these? All right, let's keep it going.
Still muted.
Oh, yeah.
I think.
There you go.
It's okay. Okay, I will start with Miss Marvel because as I saw before they will release her, I thought to myself that I think this card is not good. I think it's not because all of the lanes is dropping all the 1 cards, same value of cards. It's a little bit difficult. Okay, until they release it, and I saw his the way she gives stats to those lines. Oh my! This card is so OP, especially from lockdown decks. My jaw dropped. If ever you will drop her in the mid lane, it's absolutely perfect winning game. Abusing her abusing her in the full potential. It's like you're in the next level of being average. Okay, average player to good to great. Because 415 is really big stats and it's really helpful. So combining her with the right cards like Storm, Nebula, and Medusa, yeah, she's strong. Then I'll go for Gladiator. Well, again, some other Snap players giving a bad comments to Gladiator due to his consistency. Okay, but we need to think. I think for if you're really a good player, okay, you really need don't focus on the negative way. We need to focus on the positive way as much as possible. How he can contribute in the game. Like again, we need to shut her down. We need Gladiator to shut him down. Like for example, we're shutting down with Cosmo. Okay. And then what else? What card do I'm thinking is turn
0?
No. Yeah, you can shut down with 0 again. Okay, just to minimize his consistency. Combo Gladiator with Cosmo is shutting down the ability minimize to get high stats. Okay, what you needed. Then the next best combo is Shang-Chi to him. Just imagine you will when you drop Gladiator and he mess things up, Shang-Chi will back him up. Getting that he will clean all those mess. But for me, the best deck for him is the Surfer deck with Cosmo. Okay, that's a makes sense because in turn 6 you can drop in all. Okay, my next is Annihilus. Well, this is a genius card. Too much genius card and super fun, especially from Junk deck and Toxic Lovers. It was really wise to combo with her with Viper, okay, the Hood, and Sentry. It will be amazing and start printing U cubes every game. But this card is really lead planning. Okay, especially planning before put him down in turn 5 or turn 6. And the opponent's side and looks fun and throwing all the rocks and for sure the opponent will be devastated and frustrating. But one streamer I saw, I forgot his name. Surprisingly, I saw his deck. He have a Storm. Okay, he just dropped the Storm in the right lane in turn 3. Okay, put Sentry on the left lane, and then in turn 4, So the Void went to the Dark Lane with the Storm, and then turn 4 it's locked. They cannot do anything anymore, and then he dropped the Annihilus. Wow. Okay, so yeah, they're really a best friend of Annihilus. I think I need to create that kind of deck. So that's all for me to the rest of the spotlight.
I literally have not seen that Annihilus play. That should absolutely work like almost every time.
For sure. I was shocked too. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Let's get to the news. Our first piece of news is the December new Spotlight card changes. So, the December season pass was going to, as far as we knew, according to data mines, have Blob releasing the same week as Sebastian Shaw, the season pass. That is no longer the case. Blob has now been moved to a week later, and removed from the December spotlights is Firestar. Firestar was to be a 6/3 that, when played, gave her power to all cards played the previous turn. So that card is now removed completely. Blob is a week later. Both Sebastian Shaw and Blob, I've been calling him Shadow King, I'm so happy I called him Sebastian Shaw. Both Sebastian Shaw and Blob go up to 4 power. And now the first Spotlight cache of December, instead of featuring Blob, features Jeff, Stegron, and Man-Thing. That's a mouthful of changes. We'll start with Tobi. What do you think? Tobi? Muted still.
All right, sorry.
It's okay.
So the ability for this is to merge the deck to this and gain to its total power. Well, everybody's saying Blob is a good card, so it's hard for me to say that, until I didn't see his full potential in games. Okay, because what happened to me when one of my friends telling me that, Tobi, what do you think about the Rabona? Oh, she's a good card. It's totally good card. You can use her in the Cerebro like this, and all of the sudden the card is useless. So it makes a lot of sense that merging to another total power and giving a high stats is, I think, for me, this card is pretty good in other decks. Let's see. I don't want to conclude that he's so bad, but as you can see, the ability is on reveal, and additional power, additional stats is amazing.
Devilish?
Yeah, so I mean, I'll touch on the news initially. I suppose the changes from what was originally data mined and obviously what we're now seeing. So, personally, I was looking forward to Firestar and her ability. I play a lot of bounce, so things like turn 5s, dropping multiple cards on turn 5, and not necessarily bouncing them back on that turn would have opened up some pretty good power drops for turn 6. And I mean, I can only think they've removed her because they feel like she may be overpowered, and maybe that's not something in the meta that we can really deal with right now. Another card that's too powerful before they've been able to do any of the other nerfs, etc., or anything from patch. So, bit disappointed that she's been removed. I suspect we'll see her at some point, but I don't know when that might be now, and it may be very, very different or look completely different. I'm right in saying she's not been given a new release date. She's just been
You're right.
dropped off the list completely. Cool. Okay. So I guess what that straight away does as well is this was the first month, I believe, for December, where they were going to have a brand new card as well as the season pass card launching in week 1, and that's no longer the case. So we're staying with what we've got now. So that's okay in terms of resource. I suppose people aren't going to have to shell out for 2 brand new cards. Buying a season pass and and using caches, etc., for the new card that launches that week if you want. But I mean, again, for me, looking at the cards that are due to release, I'm missing Stegron still, and I'm a big Jeff stan, so I'll be getting every Jeff variant I can get. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to be using some caches with these ones. Don't even mind the Man Thing, if I'm honest. I quite like playing Man Thing, and it's a decent variant for it. So I think it's going to be an expensive month of cache opening for me by the looks of things. But yeah, overall, I think the drop to Firestar is probably the big thing for me here. And the other cards that come out, I mean, they do look pretty powerful, but again, I think quite niche in some cases. So Blob you're clearly having to build a deck around him with his his move there. And I'm not quite sure how we do that just yet, but that's something, closer to the time I think I'm going to have to get back in the kitchen and cook something up.
Okay. I think what we just saw happen was a domino effect. The patch was pushed back a week. So we know that they've said that they're going to tell us about series drops before the end of the year. We know that they were about to debut a new economy thing, with the Blob coming out the same week as Sebastian Shaw. My assumption is that those two things were supposed to go together. That the reason that they were adding this extra card was when they were also going to do something big to fix the economy. I don't think whatever they were planning is done yet. Supporting that is that the patch was pushed back a week. This was supposed to be our patch episode. The patch was scheduled for this week from the schedule that they've maintained so far. So they pushed the patch back a week. Right? And then they're like, I don't know if we're going to be ready. So let's not debut this new thing with the Blob right this minute. We've also got this exceedingly powerful card, Firestar, that might break the meta. It feels like it might break the game, a little bit. Whether it be Mysterio and Hitmonkey, whether it be Bounce, whatever it may be, this card seems reasonably likely to completely bust the meta open. Especially given that it works perfectly well with Shadow King to give it at least +5 power, if not plus 6-7 power. Okay, not Shadow King. I called him Shadow King again. God damn it. Sebastian Shaw. Black King of the Hellfire Club.
Yeah.
Black King and Shadow King are apparently synonymous in my head. I know they're not the same character, but enough effects, that's what it keeps happening. Yeah. Okay, so given that they made this change, they're like, all right, so if we just chuck Firestar, that buys us an extra 4 weeks to get this actual patch that has the economy change we want going. It removes a problem card from the meta, and then from there you go, okay, well, Firestar was supposed to be really, really great with Shaw, right? So now Shaw gets a bump for 1 more power because of all these other changes. And what we saw was, oh crap, we're not ready for our patch, and then just a bunch of other dominoes falling based on that one change. Or at least that's my working theory for the time being.
Sounds good.
Yeah, sounds good.
I think the December month is really interesting, though. We'll review all of these cards, as they come out. But I think this is a really kind of interesting and compelling month where there's all 3 of the 4 cards are new design space in many ways. Blob's never been seen before. Celine, giving negative power to cards in your opponent's hand is really interesting. And we haven't seen a lot of by default -1 cards since Mr. Negative. So it's a really interesting. Havoc is just a completely new card. And so there's lots of interesting things. I think Sebastian Shaw is probably the most boring card of all of these.
But powerful.
I mean, I just think
it's so powerful.
Yeah,
it's so powerful.
A cheap alternative for Shuri decks. I don't know if they really needed that, much less how he fits into Surfer and other kinds of things. But I'm not super interested in Sebastian Shaw as a card, but the other ones here are all really compelling. The only one here that I feel I want to spend spotlights on without really thinking is Havoc. I also don't have Legion and Nico, so that's a good week for me to be spending spotlight caches in general. But I'm really kind of interested in the December season. And I think that it's going to be a really interesting one. It could end up being another Loki season with a bunch of cards that people end up hating and have to get nerfed. Or it could end up being kind of like a Spider-Verse season or like a Wolverine season that is like a lot of interesting cards on the surface, but end up not really having the huge impact that people want to be. So I think that this is going to end up probably being a pretty polarized month. Either very successful in shaking things up and producing new decks and cards seeing play because all these cards are super interesting, or they're too interesting for their own good and they all suck or are mid and they don't do anything. So that's sort of my high-level take on these cards.
All right. Any final thoughts? Or are we ready to move on? Okay. The next... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I said all good.
Oh, okay. Our next
let's go.
Our next bit of news is that ByteDance / Newverse is to leave the gaming space. That's Marvel Snap's publisher. Marvel Snap immediately, like literally while I was asleep. Was it while I was asleep? Yep, while I was asleep. The news broke and they reacted to it at 5 a.m. And given that is for them like 3 a.m. when they posted that. Dear Snappers,
2 a.m, bro.
2 a.m. Math is hard. I teach English. Some of our players have expressed their concerns regarding reported structural changes at Newverse. We wish to thank you for your concern and assure you that regardless of any change at Newverse, Snap will continue to operate and flourish in the future. Breaking from tradition, I actually want to start with Roy here.
Oh, you want to start with me?
I feel like you have a take for this. This feels like a you thing.
I do have oh, go ahead, Tobi.
You are so excited to, the reaction of, oh, I want this. So go, Roy.
Oh, okay. I mean, I think this is, of course, everybody putting their tinfoil hats on here, right? Like, not, but based on sort of the article that came out from Newverse, and is that, and looking at their games, like they're not as successful as people as necessarily because just real quick, ByteDance are the people who make TikTok. Let's just be clear, right? These people have a lot of money and they want to make a lot of money as well. But none of the game, it doesn't look like, looking at the games that they're still publishing, that any of them are money printing gotcha games. The only one I think that could probably be up with that is the One Piece game that they publish, because One Piece just One Piece is nuts, right? And so I have the feeling that Newverse is not making as much money / ByteDance as they wanted to when they entered the gaming space. That's not to say Marvel Snap doesn't make a fuck ton of money, because it does. It made what, $100 million? Isn't that what the last big story was for its first year, which is a huge amount of money. But is it like putting the Federal Reserve in your company to license to print money? It's clearly not. And as we've seen with other games, the Marvel license from Disney is extremely expensive. So the question is, like, is Newverse making the amount of money that they wanted to make on these licensed games? They have both licenses from American properties and from Japanese properties and sort of other East Asian, Southeast Asian sort of properties. So they're paying a big amount of money to do these licensed games. And are they making as much money as they wanted to? I get the impression that they're not, and they're exiting the space. So what does that mean for Marvel Snap? They need to find another publisher who can support their game. And the question is it going to be my big takeaway from this is I think that the monetization is going to get worse. They're going to have a new new publisher, probably a publisher with even cheaper pockets than the TikTok people. And so I can imagine the game will get more expensive because they also need to make it more desirable to other publishers. And that's sort of my big takeaway here is that while I don't think Marvel Snap will end, I do think that people who are worried about the bad nature of the economy in Marvel Snap have some additional things to be concerned about. But this is, of course, like just reading tea leaves. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I don't have any insight into sort of like Marvel Snap itself. The show is just a bunch of articles that I read today and sort of just like other game communities that I've been a part of and followed and what happens in situations like this. So it's all speculation.
Devilish.
Yep. So I kind of woke up to to this, and in the creator program chat, there were a few people that had already posted when I first woke up this morning. I tend to check my Discord and every chat I've got going every morning just to see what I've missed whilst I've been asleep usually, but kind of woke up to see the news, and then went into a couple of the other Discords that I am part of and saw people panicking, and then went on Twitter and saw people panicking and thought, this isn't something necessarily to panic over here. People again assume, I think that to the layman, not everyone understands, I suppose, the difference between publishers and developers, and assume that they see Newverse are shutting or are exiting the space and think, oh my god, the game's going to close down. What about all the stuff I bought? What about all my cards, etc.? What about the game I love? And there's panic there. So very quickly, we'd put in the creator program chat with some of the developers and stuff in there. It might be worth putting a statement out there just to kind of, let you guys know we're aware of this situation, just to calm things a little bit. And quite quickly, I think some of the community managers got on it, and within an hour had posted the statement that you see on Twitter, and obviously they've done that on across on the Discord as well, and it went out obviously on the announcements and stuff, so everyone got that information. And that's obviously, as you say, before the guys obviously over at Second Dinner had chance to wake up and actually see this and jump on it. So I think in terms of speed of response, to be able to do something like that when there's a clear growing concern out in the community is pretty good. And it's not something we've seen very often from Second Dinner. A lot of the response we see tends to take some time and needs a lot of prodding before they actually come out and say something, or before they're ready to. So I think that is probably a bit commendable. I like the fact that they did jump on it pretty quick and calm the waters, so to speak. In a nutshell, though, it doesn't really tell us what is going to happen. It's don't worry, we know about it. You don't have to be concerned, but we're not in a position to be able to tell you anything yet. And I completely understand that as well. From a business perspective, they may not even have an answer for that yet. And even if they did, it would be still something that's being discussed. This isn't something normally that's put out there in the public domain. In terms of how it's going to immediately impact us, I suppose we don't know the timescales around when Newverse are pulling out of these things. These things obviously have contracts. They may still be around for a little while. There may be notice periods. It's certainly going to affect the shop, the online shop. So that in one regard means they need to have a whole new shop replacement. And I don't know if there is another company that could take that on straight away, or how long these things will take. So I certainly don't think there's anything immediate to worry about, but we should just see. I think it's one of these wait and see what happens over the next few months.
Toby?
Okay, I just want to follow up with Roy about what you just said about this Newverse living in gaming. In the perspective business, okay, I think they got I have the feeling that the budget of the gaming, the budget of the Newverse got mismanaged. Okay, because in the gaming world, people starting to get a career here in a gaming space. So many people starting to get more attention, like the other games, especially Marble Snap. And Marble Snap is really getting tons of money. Okay, we all know that. And as this news broke yesterday, I was in the office, and then one of my friends told me, "Toby, did you see this one?" And I said, "Oh no, I need to tight my budget for this one, because it was really scary to see this kind of news." Okay, then I researched. Hey, I think Marvel Snap is a very wise. I think Marvel Snap is. The creator of Marvel Snap is very wise. Okay, for sure. He will do anything to get Marvel Snap keep going. because they have a lots of money. Okay, they know how to rotate it, and then they know how to, you know, find a way to find more money, like putting all the effort with variants. Okay, just imagine variants. I actually, when I start playing Marvel Snap, I don't understand why we are buying those base card. Okay, unlike the Hearthstone. Okay, I will just compare Hearthstone with Marvel Snap, because when I started Hearthstone, it was a play to win. It's a play to win when I started. Then, as the game continues, the monetization is still getting better and better and better. It's getting not worse in when the Hearthstone. Okay, and then when I get here in Marvel Snap, it's totally worse. Okay, they just grab and then go. I mean, we're buying base card and variant card. What if they want to get more attention to those players is give all the base card for free, okay, and then all the variants will be paid, okay, because it makes sense. You will get more. I mean, you will get more you will get more players for giving the free base cards. So it will change the perception that Marvel Snap is, a play to win. So for me, as the take of this news is, I think better to stay put first, because for sure there will be a more news for this Newverse. So yes, just keep your pocket more tight for.
So I don't think I have a take. I don't know what this means. I don't think it's possible to know what this means. I think this could mean that like everything gets way worse. I think this could mean that Marvel Snap ends up losing players and closes. I think this could mean nothing of the type. I think we could completely continue to go on with business as usual and barely notice the difference. I think that this could mean that things get significantly better, and that like I think this could mean literally anything right now. And taking a stance without having more information than we have is, I mean, like these are like, and the 1,000 I've read outside of The Sky is Falling. Once The Sky is Falling, once they're done, right? But like the takes I've been reading are wildly interesting. That's why I wanted to go last, because I think all of this stuff is really interesting, and like I'm curious which is right. But I don't really know, and I don't know if that there's like actual information that tells us, except that like something may change at some indeterminate point in the future. Okay. Well, smack me when it does, and then I'll tell you if I think it's good or bad.
That's concerned me, because the message is so small, okay, but the problem was so big. So they did not define about the problem what did happen.
But they don't know yet, right? Like, even if they knew about this for a few weeks, right? Like, what they would be doing at this point is looking for a new publisher, unless they're going to self-publish. Odds are they're looking for a new publisher, right? Like, self-publishing is a giant undertaking. So odds are they're looking for a new publisher. They probably have a few people interested. They make a lot of money. And is that new publisher going to be good or bad for us as consumers of this product? Yeah, good question.
Yeah, right? For me, okay. I have a take for that, Glazer. Because in a business world, okay, again, I'll go to the business world. If the company is getting going down, okay, so what will happen? He will find another investor. Okay. In my experience, the takes is all negative, because when you're getting new investor, okay, it will change a lot of things. Okay. Because I mean, sorry to say this, but I got retrenched many times due to closing companies. It was really hard. Every time they changed the name of the company, new investor, everybody changed. So expect that this news, Marvel Snap, it will not it will not close. It still continue to progress. I'm hoping, but expect there will be a big change for the game.
Sure, probably. And again, like maybe even probably it'll be worse. But like that's just such a big leap at this point. We don't know what their projection like so okay, let's start with we know that Newverse didn't feel it was meeting its projections. We don't know how specific or not specific that was to Marvel Snap. Is it their entire game portfolio? How much of Snap as a part of that game portfolio is that as a negative outcome? Then further, we don't know what Snap's second din or whatever's internal projections were for their profits. Are they meeting, exceeding, or below what they assumed? Which will further explain how things go forward. If Snap has far exceeded their profitability margins, that changes the perspective, right? However, Snap is far underselling what they expected. I think that's very unlikely given the information we have, but it's possible, certainly. If they are far underselling their initial investment, then we have a lot to worry about. But like our information at this point, this isn't Second Dinner saying we're closing a portion of our business. This is a totally unrelated company that they fundamentally farmed out part of their production to. That is changing their company. Which doesn't necessarily tell us about Second Dinner's internal logistics. This could be something that is reflected equally within Second Dinner, and it could be something that barely affects Second Dinner at all as far as a company goes, right? Like, there's just the amount of information we have on this matter, because they're a private company, is so minuscule that I'm not willing to assume that I know how things are going. I know all of their PR, and I've talked to a few of the people in the company just off and on, and I've dealt with companies that are constantly in a sense of panic, as has Roy. And that's not the sense I get from Second Dinner at all. I don't get the feeling that they're worried or they think things aren't succeeding. And like I've talked to them since they would have conceivably known of this news, right? And they're like they're not behaving like a company in panic in any way, shape, or form. A company in panic doesn't let the Series 3 problem die like this, right? A company in panic, in my opinion, would take care of seriously because that's where your new players are getting stuck and falling off the game.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So if they've let this problem go, that means that they have a big enough player base, are making enough money at this point that they're like comfortable continuing, or they were comfortable continuing the way things were, at least likely. But I don't actually know that. I'm reading tea leaves. I'm literally pouring my tea out and trying to pretend I can tell the future, and I can't. So like, I just look. I'm going to talk about this in tomorrow's episode, and there's this whose quote is it? Give me 1 second. I'm actually going to find it. I'm on the wrong slide. Give me 1 second. There's this quote I really like that I'm literally going to read on the show tomorrow. It's from Mickey Rivers, an old baseball player. So ain't no sense in worry about the things you got no control over because you got control over them. Ain't no sense worrying about the things you don't got control over because if you don't got control over them, ain't no sense worrying. And that's it. We don't know. We can't control it. If the game ends up terrible and dying, like, none of us are young people. We've all seen games come and go, right? Like, okay.
Yeah.
Like,
come and go. Let's go.
Look, I'll be sad. It's taking a lot of money out of my pocket, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
but all right, like, what are you gonna do? Like, it's not in my control, and I don't know. So, like, let's see. I'm gonna hope for the best and just live life, right? Like,
yeah. Let's move on. That's all.
I want to add 2 quick things for people to keep in mind to think about. Because again, I think Glazer's right, and I hope it was clear that like all 4 of us, and I've been really interested by like everything that everyone said here is speculation. But keep in mind a couple of things. We know Marvel Snap made, in the context of what we might think of, a lot of fucking money again. $100 million plus, right? The question is, did Newverse, when they launched Marvel Snap, is that what their goal was, or did they want a Genshin Impact? Right? Mm-hmm. And they did not get Genshin Impact. Or did they want their One Piece game to be Genshin Impact? And it wasn't Genshin Impact. Right? And like all of these different like properties that they've tried to spin up. Like, was their goal to make a hugely successful game or a mega game? So even if we accept Marvel Snap was a hugely successful game when it launched, it's not a mega game. And that's not me shading Marvel Snap. Like, it's just not the thing that is Genshin Impact or some of these other like gacha games that are just like literally, again, like setting up a Federal Reserve printing press in your company. The second thing is Glazer hinted at this. He and I have been intimately involved in games where the cost of the license doesn't necessarily lead to the company making the profitability that they want. And that leads to the game getting discontinued over time, as you might be a successful, profitable game. And you might think that, say, a license based on a hugely successful television show that most Americans are obsessively watching every Sunday would be a license to print money. But it's not a license to print money because the costs of the license from the creator, this like old man who wears a weird hat or whatever, like is not like ending up being fully profitable for the company, right? And then over time, or the business model that it like put out there to attempt to leverage that license ends up not being successful for them, right? And other Marvel games have seen this. We saw the Square Enix Avengers game, right? We saw this with Marvel Suns, a game I really enjoyed, but the Firaxis game,
Midnight Suns,
yeah. The game that was not as successful financially for Firaxis and may have actually bankrupted Firaxis. Like, there's a chance that Firaxis will not survive enough to make another Civilization game, right? Like, there's a lot of rumors that they're going under because their Marvel game didn't sell what they thought it was going to sell. Right? These are all things to keep in mind when we think about what could happen with Marvel Snap. That might seem very doom or gloomy, but I think it's actually not a lot about Marvel Snap, the game that we all know and love, but the like weird economics that currently exists in sort of our gigantic capitalist world system here, right? Where like movies that make $300 billion are considered gigantic failures, right? Like, this is just like an economy of scale that we as normal human beings can't really wrap our minds around. And the sort of like logic and arguments behind the scenes in these kind of things are strange and might not track for like our sort of common sense of what is a successful or unsuccessful product. So that's the end of my speculation here, rampant and otherwise.
So what Roy is saying is, hello everyone and welcome to Lorcana Take. We are the podcasting partner of Lorcana Snap Zone.
Nice.
I mean, Lorcana Zone.
Oh my
Disney's
God. Like
Lorcana
Lorcana, man. Like, Lorcana game that's so expensive and hard to get fucking cards for, man.
It's the only game I know about. It was that or Magic. I don't pay that much attention to this space. I'm sorry.
This is the thing of the Lorcana. Why it's so successful? For sure, this card will not die because the Lorcana base is a Disney. Okay, the player base for this one is a little kid and the older ones. Because this is Disney. Unlike the Magic the Gathering, it's like you can, when you play that card, it's like a tarot card. Right? And you see the art, it's like all devilish, nothing.
What happened? Devilish.
Yeah, devilish. Sorry. What happened to me when I was okay, this is a short story about my take about Magic the Gathering. Okay, when I started playing Magic the Gathering, because I don't have that kind of resources when I was so young. While I'm buying, and then my parents saw these cards. Okay, hey, what kind of card is this? What are you playing? I'm just playing cards because of this ability. Why the art is like this? I'm confused too. But the art is so good to see. And then all of a sudden, 1 week before, they just throw all my cards. Not all. They just throw and burn. I don't want that kind of cards. I was, oh my God. All my card is gone now. Comparing the MTG to Lorcana, now the Lorcana is much better than Magic the Gathering. I'm not saying that the OG is Magic the Gathering is not good. The kind of play of Magic the Gathering is so what do you call this? So impactful. Okay, because how you manage how to win, how to combo, how to aggro. Unlike the Lorcana, you cannot miss any place because every turn you play mana, you play ink. Unlike the Magic the Gathering, you will miss one mana, you're done.
I dig it.
Yeah.
Look. All right. Let us move on to our main topic for the day as we bid adieu to Marvel Snap, as it is clearly a dying game. We are on the best card packages in Snap. So I defined a packages as something that is 3 or 4 cards, but does not require a full deck, can be put into a deck that does something else, and, ideally make it better. We're going to go through them and rank the top 10, which means anything that's below 10, we don't even have to talk about. We're trying to find number 1 to number 10. I don't know why I'm making hand motions like anyone but my 2 guests here can see me. But number 1 to number 10, we're not going to read through all 17 of these in advance because, again, there are 7 freaking teen of these. But hopefully it will be relatively self-explanatory as we go through. The very first card package we have, and the one that is automatically starting as number 1, is what I'm terming the Annihilus package, which is our newest package by definition. It is Annihilus, Sentry, and Hood. Let's start with Devilish. Devilish, what do you have to say about the Annihilus package?
It's fun to play. It's certainly obviously quite prevalent in the meta at the moment, but I think that's partly because obviously the recency of Annihilus coming out, and it's something that does something that no other card in the game does or has done previously. So people are playing it because it's fun. Yeah, I think there are some good packages you can slot around it. I've seen some with Shuri in them. Salami had posted a really, really spicy deck with Shuri into Annihilus or Shuri into Sentry, and being able to do that is again pretty powerful. And Toby mentioned earlier around the whole storming the right lane and not giving them a chance to basically fill it because they've only got 1 turn afterwards on turn 4, so they're going to get the void whether they like it or not. That sort of thing is fun. So for me, I think out of the list, I think it does sit in the top 10. As to where, I'm not too sure yet. I think we'll go through a few more of them.
Toby, anything to add for this one?
Yeah, for me, for this one, it's still on top 10. Top 10 for me because, maybe for this season, Annihilus is still good. But let's see next season what will happen for the Annihilus, because they're starting to build a counter for Annihilus, like flooding the one lane and then putting some Cosmo on Hood so that they will not destroy by Annihilus. So yeah, this one is good for me.
So, all right. Shuri into Red Skull is the best turn 4 into turn 5 in the game, has been forever, right? We're going to talk about the Shuri package later. That is, as of right now, 29 points. But you're giving several of those points back because you have to play another card to make Red Skull not hurt you, right? So that is a 29-point combo. Annihilus plus Sentry is 17. And then if you can push that Void over, that's a 27-point play. Probably about the same as Shuri Red Skull. Is it harder to pull off? Yes. The counter has to come before the play, not after the play. As opposed to Shuri Red Skull, which happens in the other order, right? But if this no longer is expected in the meta, the sheer power and the sheer impact of that play is going to be completely backbreaking. Because 27 points on turn 4 or 5 is humongous. It needs its Taskmaster, which is what the problem is.
I think that this belongs in the middle of the pack for the top 10. I don't think it's the most powerful thing you could be doing in Marvel Snap, but it's definitely in the top 10 most powerful. And I think decks need to respect it. I think, though, it is one that is more open to counterplay than some of the other ones that belong in the top 2 or 3 spots. And you already mentioned one of them here. So there's a lot more that can go wrong with Annihilus than with Shuri Red Skull.
Combo number 2 is the Black Knight combo. We'll toss it to Toby first. Actually, let's just keep the order so we don't have to change it every time. We'll go Devilish, Toby, me, Roy. That work for everybody?
Okay.
All right. Cool. And as we talk about this, we're trying to determine whether this is better or worse than the Annihilus package. It is Black Knight, Sif, Ghost Rider, and Infinite. Also, for those of you listening on the podcast, the slideshow is on the YouTube version, and I've got art for all these cards. So if you want to see some cool variants, check it out. Devilish. Yeah, there's hips all over this.
Yeah. So I don't think this is as strong. So I think it would definitely sit under the Annihilus package. Again, it's probably the best way of playing Black Knight at the moment, but that kind of feels like Black Knight isn't necessarily needed in a discard package. It's just an extra card you could throw in there, but there are others that I think you would have in your discard package, if I'm honest. So yeah, I don't feel this is that strong.
Tobi?
Yeah. If I can see this card, putting one Black Knight and then using Lady Sif, maybe this is not strong. Same with my perception with the Devilish. But if you pull it right, then yeah, I think it will give you a win for this package.
So I think definitely worse than Annihilus. I think it's better than most people do, but I think it's mostly better when you put it with another better package like Shuri.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Like you play this with Shuri, or you throw this little package on top of a Darkhawk package or whatever else, and then the other package wins you a lot of games. And then sometimes you have a high roll that wins you games. So it's an okay package.
Yeah, correct.
No offense to our guest last week, Super Tech God. I really enjoyed that episode, by the way. You should go listen to it right now on a podcast catcher near you or on the YouTube channel. But this is hot garbage, and it's not anywhere near the best of the two other discard packages that exist in the game. And please get this off my screen. It's on the top 10.
It's this package is very hard to pull, though.
Bounce Wolf is the next package. It is Werewolf by Night, Falcon, Beast, and Nico doesn't have to be here, but every version that runs this also has Nico. So Werewolf, Falcon, Beast, and sorta Nico. Devilish.
I play a lot of Bounce. I would not say that I'm very good at Bounce. is the thing. I'm trying to get better. So I do love the Bounce Wolf package, and it's one that's obviously relatively recent again, since Werewolf come out at the end of October. So it's only been around for a few weeks, and yeah, I think space is the issue with Bounce, as always, and knowing when to play your Beast and Falcon. So I don't know necessarily, like you say, whether Nico is absolutely needed in this deck or in this package, but she is used a fair amount because she's a cheap on reveal, so she can move the wolf. Mm-hmm. That's her reason she's in there, and if you can get some bonus stats out of her as well, then great. It probably does sit in the top 10. For me, I would have it underneath the Annihilus package, but pretty close. I don't think it's top of the top.
Tobi.
Yeah, if I can see if this Bounce Wolf, because the winning condition here is the Werewolf. Okay. Combining them with other on reveal cards, because 50% of my games I'm playing Bounce. So, but Bounce without Falcon. So you can still pull it off. All these combos on him, but Nico here is very, it's very weird because it will delay. It will delay all your moves, especially with the Werewolf. So I think this will be still in my top 10, and I think there will be more cards to improve this package then.
Wait, so Tobi, this or Annihilus?
Annihilus is still my top. Bounce Wolf will be my below Annihilus.
Okay, so I would have this top, but I'm willing to bow to the wisdom of the crowds. Bounce is my most effective deck. I currently have 5 different decks with this exact package in it. I have a Darkhawk one, I have an Annihilus one, which runs the Annihilus package with this. I have a straight Hitmonkey old school Iron Man one. I have a double She-Hulk one. Like, I just have so many different versions. What's the last one? I have one more. Oh, and I have the move one. I have one that basically says, if I see Human Torch go, like, it runs a regular bounce package, right? And it could win that way, but it also just runs Human Torch, Ghost Spider, and Iron Fist, and if you can bounce the 3 of them once, you have like a 28 power Human Torch that wins a lane, and then Werewolf is 17 power wins an end.
Okay.
It's like, I think bounce is about as good as anything. I'm happy to put it in second place, but like, I love this. This is like my favorite thing in the game, and I think it's among the most powerful.
Yeah, okay. Nice. That's nice.
It's really great. Right?
So no shade to either Bounce or Werewolf, but I think they deserve to be separate, because there's a package called Werewolf by Night, who is just a simple card, like a card that rewards you for playing the game known as Marvel Snap. And it is a package in and of itself that you can just slap in almost all of the packages that we're talking about here and get lots of value. And then there's these bounce cards. Like, yes, Werewolf by Night makes sense with the bounce cards because they say on reveal. I think both of them are valuable. I think they're better than Annihilus. I think they're definitely like top. Like, I would say for me, Annihilus is, we're doing top 10, right? Annihilus to me is 5. And this is like 4 or 3. Mostly on the back of Werewolf. Because like Werewolf by Night, I think, and then a bunch of on reveal cards next to him is really the best package in the game. But up there, well, not the best, maybe the 3rd best package after, spoiler alert, 2 pretty obvious ones that you should definitely know that I'll be voting for 1 and 2.
We've talked about already.
Yeah, we've already talked. Well, we haven't talked about one of them yet.
Oh, we haven't? Because I'm going to argue that I don't even think that's a package, but it should be. All right, whatever.
But anyway, Werewolf by Night is fucking busted. And then there's some bounce cards on this list. So like, I'm not, and again, no shade on bounce. I think bounce is fantastic. I lose to it all the time.
Really strong, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Werewolf is just his own one-man army.
So the reason that bounce is the general package Werewolf gets put in is because bounce is where you can play a bunch of ones and not have them be terrible, and bounce is where those ones can beat the best deck in the game, Loki. Because like, then Loki's you, right? And if they don't get your Werewolf, they just have a bunch of shitty 1-drops. And you've got a Werewolf and like a combo going, right? And like, then you've got a giant Darkhawk and you can win the game.
I have a solution to this Loki player's problem, though.
Okay.
Play Werewolf themselves. There we go. Boom! Then when you get your opponent's Werewolf cards, you got it right there. And conveniently, Werewolf is a 3. What's Loki now? What's Loki's cost now?
All right. So is it? Can I put this number? Can I put this number 1 for now? What the hell did I just do?
Oh, you just screwed it all up, Aaron, for the video viewers. You can definitely.
It just freaked out at me. I didn't actually press anything. I wasn't even on that tab.
I don't care if this is number 1. For me, it's not going to stay as number 1, but it's going to be in the top 5. I think it's going to be in the top half.
So are we okay moving this above Annihilus? Does anyone have like hell knows?
No.
Okay.
I'm good.
Okay.
Look, I think they're 2 of the best packages in the game.
Accepted.
All right. The Brood Me package. Brood Forge Absorbing Man.
Oh, man.
Go ahead, Devilish. We can throw Patriot in here if you want, but it doesn't have to.
For 3 weeks, it was the strongest deck in the game. And it's no longer played, really. So, I mean, as a package, I think that there is
just won a tournament.
Yeah. Sorry, you cut out for a second.
One Fiona's thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty punchy 1, 2, 3 play, or turn 2, turn 3, turn 4 play. So, you know, it's a decent package, I think. Probably still sits on the top 10 somewhere, but I mean, are we talking popularity here or strongest?
Strongest.
If it's strongest, it's a punchy. If you get that 3 and in that order, you're laughing. If you can do that with an Iron Lad as well, it's game over.
So remember, we don't have to compare this to everything in the world. We have to compare this to Bounce Wolf, Annihilus, and Black Knight. Just those 3.
Right. Okay. For me, probably sits between Bounce Wolf and Annihilus.
Ooh, that high. Interesting. Tobi?
In terms of package for the Brood, since how many seasons that this Brood and Absorbing Man dominate the meta. Now it changed my perception that Brood and Forge will be my top 3 in the list, and top the Werewolf by Night will be my top 2. Yeah. Yeah, Brooded Absorbing Man is very, very dead. I mean, very. I mean, what do you call this? What's the word?
I don't know. Consistent?
No, I mean
powerful combo.
Yeah, a powerful combo. Yeah, it's a powerful combo. Just imagine Forge, turn 1 and turn 3, you will do Brood and then copy with Absorbing One. It's a big stats. Okay. So, yeah, this is my second though.
It's the most boring thing you can do in Marvel Snap.
Actually, this is so much boring when you.
This
is so boring. It's like, okay, just drop this one and then drop this one and then let's do the work. That's all.
Yeah, and then the game is over, right? Like you should have snapped when you had it.
You don't need to think about it. Yeah, you don't need about if he puts something in front of you, just put Broad. That's all. And then let's wait for Silver Surfer to put down some stats. That's all.
You know what's made this. You know what's made this weaker though. Werewolf by Night has made this weaker because you can't run Werewolf in the deck because you have no space to bounce.
No space tonight.
I swear to God, that's why people don't play it because Werewolf is so busted. Then everyone's like, "Well, I guess we can't play Forge, Brood, Absorb Man anymore." Like even Surfer is just like, "I'm just going to run Werewolf." Sorry, you're a 12 power Werewolf with 17 power.
Yeah. All right. Nice.
All right. So I think it's fairly easy second to bounce Wolf ahead of Annihilus for now.
Yes, that's.
Oh wow! I'd say this is below Annihilus. This is like, pardon my French here, like the most basic bitch stuff you can do in Marvel Snap, but
it's powerful.
It's powerful, but I think anybody who wants
to beat
tournament, it did, but so does Shuri, so does Loki. Like winning, I know, no offense to the person who played this one, like that's awesome. Like I've enjoyed brooding people out with Absorbing Man a lot, but I think anyone who wants to beat Brood can beat Brood, and that doesn't mean it's not powerful. But I think, and it's consistent, but I think and it's particularly consistent when people are doing wacky things, like trying to play Annihilus. But I think that the upside of Annihilus is better than the ceiling of Annihilus is much better than this. This is like mid. Like this is firmly like the most mid consistent thing you can do in Marvel Snap. And sometimes that's what you want to be doing. But I don't think it's like got the sort of ceiling of Loki and Werewolf and even Annihilus and Shuri and these things that we're going to be talking about. And much less the next one, Darkhawk. Like,
well, look.
I love that.
So, okay. So, all right. So we're going to have to vote quickly. Just say no one has it ahead of Bounce Wolf. So it's either ahead of Annihilus, which makes it number 2, or after Annihilus, which makes it number 3. So we'll just go in order. Devilish, 2 or 3?
2.
Tobi?
This is 2 for sure.
Right, then I'm at 2. It's 2. Sorry.
Okay.
I think it's more powerful than you think.
Sorry,
sure. I don't.
Sorry, bro.
I don't care.
Right. And next up, we have what ends up in the number 1 spot of all of our things. It is the Darkhawk package.
Oh yeah,
which is Rockslide, Darkhawk, Corrigan, Zabu. Is there anything to say about this package at this point in Marvel Snap? Devilish, you get to try first.
It's number 1. There's no point. We just pack up and go home. See ya.
Hey, you can sleep now.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm done. We don't need to look at the rest. Honestly, I mean, it is something at the moment. You can fit this package into so many different deck types, archetypes. I've been combining this with Annihilus. All kinds of stuff going on. This with Miss Marvel is ridiculously strong as well. So, yeah, it's the number 1 probably package of cards in the game to me. So. Not much more I can say.
Tobi?
For sure, for me, this is number 1. Because I mean, Darkhawk will not be Darkhawk if there is no Rockslide and Core, right? And Zabu. Because if you say Darkhawk, they will not say, Darkhawk is the most annoying card, to be honest. But what makes him annoying is the Rockslide and Core. Just imagine dropping him dropping him 3 rocks in a row, and then disrupting his hands, drawing him rocks every turn. And then Zabu is a sneak guy who will drop, Darkhawk in 3 casting costs. I think this will be my top one.
I got nothing to say about it, Roy. It's like clearly number 1.
I think in the most literal sense of the way in which like the term package was developed in card game theory and Magic, like yes, Darkhawk is inarguably number 1. Like it is truly an interchangeable package that can just go in literally any deck, and you can just put a bunch of random cards around it and it wins. Which frequently that's how people win tournaments and do well. So I think it has to win by number 1. But I think that the difference between this and its other 2 competitors, Loki and Shuri, is really narrow though. I don't think it's like miles ahead of those other 2. I just think it's so significantly ahead.
I'm so excited to get to Loki because I'm going to argue Loki shouldn't be on the list. And it shouldn't make the top 10, and I'm ready for the bloodbath that's going to follow when I say that.
Okay.
All right. We've got the double She-Hulk package. Welcome back to the game. Thanks, Juno and Den, for bringing it back. It is She-Hulk, Moon Girl, Quinjet. Devilish.
I enjoy it. Been playing it for a little while. I remember back in months and months and months ago, probably even before I started streaming. So we're probably talking 10 or 11 months ago. And I used to play. My She-Hulk was my first Series 4 card, I think, at the time when they first came out. So remember when we first brought out Series 4 and 5 cards and they came out? She-Hulk was the first thing I pulled from Collection Track at the time. And I was playing that with Moon Girl, with Devil Dino in there, having an Infinite in there. The whole She-Naught thing was being played way back then. And, it's been quite nostalgic, shall we say, to bring her back this time round, and it's really strong. As you said, the deck that Den posted has been doing really well for me. I've enjoyed that in Conquest as well. It's fun though. It's a lot of fun. There was another one I saw which has got Abomination, Hulk, and She-Hulk all in there, and you can double those up. And with Evo in there as well, it's really really strong. So it's been fun to play. I'd say current meta, it is pretty strong. It's doing well. No one's playing Mobius, and there's not a lot you can do now really outside of well, you can play Shang, but have you got 2 of them or 3 of them? If you're playing those bigger cards, so I think it goes well up against a lot of other decks at the moment. I would have it probably again above the Annihilus package now, but underneath Bounce.
What about compared to Brood? Is it above Brood? Brood is above Annihilus.
Yeah, I'd have it above Brood.
Okay. Toby?
Oh, correct. So, double She-Hulk. Yeah, this is a strong package for me. Finishing with double She-Hulk will be devastating. With Quinjet. Just imagine 0-10 and then 1-10. And last turn is, you can drop it all in turn 6. So, for me, this will be my top 2 below.
Bounce or above Bounce?
Bounce. Above Bounce. This is my top 2.
Bounce?
Yeah, above Bounce. This is top 2.
Okay. So, I'm not ready to put it above Bounce yet. But what I think is silly here, and it's not common enough to be in the package, is I think Ms. Marvel and Mystique make this a 5-card package now. Because your goal is to drop Moon Girl, then Ms. Marvel, and not skip 5 and just sort of ignore She-Hulk, and then double Mystique on that. And then you just have 15 power in both side lanes from just that play. And then you can still play other cards, because you have Quinjet, and it's completely freaking bonkers. I still don't have it above Bounce. I think that Bounce is more consistent, largely because Bounce has more disruption and more interactivity, and this is a deck that's disruptible.
Okay.
Like you draw a rock, and all of a sudden you're just kind of screwed sometimes, right? Like you get a wrong Iceman target, and you're just like, well, lost. Like Spider Ham is like the ultimate nightmare of this deck. All those little cards that make this deck's life more difficult make me have it number 3, not number 2. But it is rising quickly in the meta, and it would not shock me to see this start performing in tournaments again.
Mm.
Roy?
I think going back to the literal definition of package, I think that this is a very powerful package because I think Moon Girl has enough synergy with a variety of other cards. Like Glazer just pointed out, he just said the best thing you could do in this deck involves none of the cards besides Moon Girl.
Quinjet.
That's fair. That's fair. All right, like, and that just shows you that it makes sense, like as a package. I think as a deck, and particularly the She-Hulk Moon Girl thing, I think it is only as powerful as people are expecting it. I think when it's like something that everybody knows is coming down, I think it gets weaker because there's definitely answers to that in the form of like lockdown. Junk is pretty good against it if you fill up your opponent's board. They don't really have an opportunity to do all these things that it wants to do. But also I think this is actually a really good tournament deck because the cube equity on this deck is really poor once you realize what your opponent is trying to do. Like if you're like, okay, I can't beat 3 She-Hulks. I can't beat 2 She-Hulks. And I'm just going to retreat. But when you're stuck in a conquest game with someone where eventually you are going to have to, try to beat their top draws to sort of close out, I think that this deck is really strong. So for me, I would probably put it kind of just in general as like slightly below where Annihilus is right now. I just don't think it's like super well positioned in the meta, but I think Glazer is really well, like correct that I think over time it's going to get better. But once it gets really good, I think people will start playing answers to it. Mobius being a great example of it. And then it will go back down. So I would sort of put it a little bit below Annihilus for me, but that's simply because there's more sort of counterplay that exists than there does, slightly more than there does for Annihilus.
That is going to average this out to be number 3 for the time being, because 2 people had it in 3, 1 person had it in 2, 1 person has it at currently 6. The rankings thus far, just to keep us up to date, I wrote Devilish in number 1 instead of Darkhawk. Darkhawk
Devilish
package.
should be number 1.
The Devilish Darkhawk package
definitely.
in number 1. In
Darkhawk.
number 2,
Yeah.
Bounce Wolf. Number 3, Double She-Hulk. Until people start playing counters, which is definitely a thing that should happen soon. Number 4, Brood. Number 5, Annihilus. Number 6, Black Knight. And we are on to our next. It is the sad and lonely Elsa package that had to cut Angela. Elsa, Kitty, and Jeff. Why is this the worst thing on the list so far, Devilish?
Where's she gone? I mean, she was the absolute scourge of the meta for a season when it was her season, and she's just disappeared. And you'd think with people playing, I suppose this is junk, isn't it? You don't, if they're filling your side for you, your location, you don't get the points, I suppose, is where she's gone. So yeah, I don't think she fits very well in a meta that has junk quite prevalent at the moment at all. I don't like scoring Jeff down at all in anything. So yeah, I still
you can put it in second to last besides Black Knight.
Okay, I think I'll do that for now. I don't think it's as strong now because of the nerfs that it's had, and the current meta. So it was very, very strong, and I still think there are cards within it that you can play in the other decks, but you may not necessarily play all 3 of these. But yeah, the nerf to Angela, the nerf to Elsa, the nerf to Kitty, it's been hit hard. So it's not strong enough now, I don't think, to compete.
Tobi?
Yeah, for me, this package is still having some, hard time to pull them off because what Devilish says is they nerf really hard. So the Sarah control, become more hard playing on it rather than going for the last turn pulling all them together to have high stats. So yeah, in Sarah Control, almost 70% of the stats went down. So it's very hard to put them. I mean, to pull them up to manage to fight all the lanes with high stats. So for sure, this will be my last rank.
So Elsa is Little Red Riding Hood, and the big bad Werewolf by Night ate her.
Yes,
you can't play both together with any effectiveness because Elsa needs you to fill spots. Werewolf needs spots to be open.
Yeah, that's the hard thing for Elsa. And then the else. I mean, other cards that you will put to fill Elsa is low stats. So yeah, it's kind of hard.
So last place for me.
Last place for last place.
Bye, Elsa.
All right, bye, Elsa. Someone read the next one. Roy, read us the Evo package.
So we got High Evolutionary, Cyclops, and Hulk, which really is just High Evolutionary because these cards are, well, Hulk's okay, but Cyclops is terrible without our boy, the High Evolutionary. So, gentlemen, Devilish, what do you think of where High Evolutionary as a package sits right now?
It's okay. Funnily enough, my preferred High Evo package isn't these two cards. Maybe Hulk, but I wouldn't necessarily go for the Cyclops and Affliction package. Outside of the deck I mentioned about 5 minutes ago, which obviously I've been playing with the double She-Hulk and Abomination and Hulk and stuff in there. So I think it's one of High Evo's probably best packages that you can run with him, the one of the most popular at least. Not my preferred way to play with him. So I think for me I'd probably have him above the last package we talked about, above Elsa, but no higher than that. So third bottom.
Tobi.
Okay. As High Evolutionary, I think this is the best package for me. For High Evolutionary, the best.
We've got a first and a last place.
No, actually, this is the best. Dark Orc is still the better. Okay, so because just imagine High Evolutionary, and then putting Hulk getting bigger every turn, and Cyclops pew you for lots of negative toxic stats. So for me, this is below double She-Hulk.
Okay.
Just imagine.
I think it's below Brood, but ahead of Annihilus.
Below Brood. Yeah.
So I have it in the same spot as you. I think what actually kills this deck almost as much as anything is it doesn't work with Darkhawk. And everything else works with Darkhawk.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't work with Darkhawk, and it doesn't, like, bounce. And then you're just like, well, shit. Like, you can't run Werewolf in it because most of the cards aren't on reveal. Right? Like, and you're just
correct.
And like, you're cutting yourself out of other top packages. So maybe it's actually below Annihilus and ahead of Black Knight. Is that crazy? Like, it's just that, crazy. Like, it has to be so much of the body of your deck that, like, but it doesn't, like, okay. So if I was ranked 40, I don't know if there's anything I'd like more than High Evolutionary. It's straightforward, it's powerful, but, like, when you play High Evolutionary and Infinite, your opponent just knows what they're doing, and if they can't stop you, it's, like, an easy retreat. And in Conquest, it's, like, they usually have an answer, and, like, other decks just get bigger and do more, right?
Yeah, that's correct, yeah.
So I think I'm below Annihilus. Like, all right, let's say they throw their 20 power Hulk in the lane that you have the negative 10 for Sentry, right? Like, that's now a 10 power Hulk. That's huge. Like, I think it's below Annihilus. I think it's below Annihilus. I'm there. I can't believe I'm there. I did not think I was there. I thought that was going to be like top 4. But I think I'm there. Like, not historically, now. Although it's part of the the lockdown package is what makes this good, right? It's not this package. Lockdown is good in everything. Right, Roy? Oh, we're good to put this. We are putting this below Annihilus. Oh, we're going to get yelled at. Here comes the hate mail. We are on to the Hit Monkey package, the poor Hit Monkey package of Bishop, and I really want that Hit Bishop, Mysterio, and Hit Monkey.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't sure if it should be Bishop or Werewolf by Night here, because Werewolf by Night has totally, like, eaten Bishop's lunch. Devilish?
Yeah, fits in bounce, but yeah, again, I think personally with this should come Bast, because
Sure.
I mean I don't really play a Mysterio in a bounce deck without Bast. That's the whole point of her.
So, but in the bounce deck, but in the Thor's deck, the one that combines this with Thor's, you don't play
of course,
Bast.
yeah, of course, you don't do you? So it's an option. I mean, even things like Mysterio fill in the lanes there, and the fact that it's 3 and you're buffing your Bishop up and stuff as well is a pretty decent package for bounce. Is it higher than the other bounce with Werewolf? No.
What? Not even in the same planet.
No. Kind of mid-tier, I think. It's better than Annihilus.
Okay.
But it's in that ballpark.
Toby, you agree? Better than Elias? Worse than Annihilus?
I disagree.
Go more. Where does it rank? Is it better than High Evolutionary?
Ooh. For me?
Yeah, for you.
Yeah. Better than High Evolutionary for me.
So I have it worse than High Evolutionary, but better than Black Knight, which is just sitting there sadly.
Yeah.
Which means that, like, Devilish has it, just for the record, ahead of Annihilus. Then Toby has it ahead of Evolutionary, and I have it ahead of Black Knight, which means hopefully Roy has an answer. Otherwise, we are at a classic impasse. Roy, where you got this one?
I generally think right now that this is kind of garbage, so I would definitely dump it in the bottom half of our list here.
So after Evo it is. We got victory. Let's keep it going. Craven the Hunt package, which is Craven, Silk, Jeff, and Peter Parker.
Ooh.
Can I go first for this one? Do you mind?
Go for it.
So this deck is still good. I don't actually know why people stop playing it. Like, a lot of the things people stop playing, like, I totally get, but sometimes people stop playing decks and I keep playing them, and I'm like, this didn't get worse. I'll just stop playing it. It's not the very best thing to do anymore, but, like, unless you're Lambie, you play things that aren't the very best for fun sometimes, and this is more than good enough to win. Like, a large percentage of your matchups. I don't understand what happened. Devilish?
Agreed. Popular deck. Again, it's one that when I go to, I suppose when I want to make space in my deck builder and I want to create something new, and I'm always looking at, okay, what haven't I been playing so much recently that I can delete just to make space for a new deck? And I always go back along my little list, and then always sitting there is old Silky Smooth, and I can't bring myself to delete it because I know that it performs and it will still perform ongoing. I think people just got a little bit, I think, tired of it a little bit. It was everywhere for so long that people just wanted to try something a bit different. But as you say, it's not really had that big of a knock in terms of any nerfs that have happened recently. It still performs pretty well. Maybe it's just a case of people want to play with the new shiny toys that have come out. But yeah, still a strong package.
So where would you rank it right now? Just so you know, it's not going to beat Darkhawk, right?
No, wouldn't be Darkhawk.
All right. So tell me when to stop. Bounce Wolf. Double She-Hulk. Brood.
Above Double She-Hulk, after Bounce Wolf.
Okay.
For me.
That is a spot. And Toby?
For me, this is still strong package. Okay, because when I think last 2 weeks ago, I'm using this one in Conquest, and then I'm not a fan for a move deck, by the way. So I keep I keep printing I keep printing for silver ticket. Okay. I need to practice this guy. This move deck. So pumping Craven, moving Silk all the way. The only problem for me here is you cannot control Silk. Okay. So there's a technique that some of my friends told me you can control Silk by flooding one lane. Okay. So as I continue playing, and all of the sudden, I was on the game 3 and the Conquest already getting the infinite ticket. So it was very intense play. So beating all the time, not snapping. The guy is not snapping. So for me, this is my top 5.
Okay. So
it's
is
still
this above Brood or below Brood?
Below Brood. No, above Brood. Sorry.
Above Brood. Above Brood. Double She-Hulk?
No, it's just above Brood. Though.
Okay, so that's exactly where I'm stuck too.
Yeah,
I think it's above Brood. I think Brood was better than it when they were going head to head for a while in the meta. But the Forge nerf pushed Brood down enough that this is better than Brood, at least in my opinion, as of right now. Plus, this can run Werewolf and Brood can't, which I know is a complicated concept. But like, hey, what can run Werewolf is better.
This package is very complicated. You need that. You need the high IQ how to pull these things off.
For Double She-Hulk, for Double She-Hulk too. For Double She-Hulk too. Double She-Hulk is not easy to play.
Yeah.
Because like you're playing to like figure out how to get things in the right hand position as much as the right board position. It's not easy.
Correct. Yeah.
All right, so we are completely torn. Roy, could you decide whether this goes above or below Double She-Hulk?
All right, Glazer was going to get canceled for his take on several so far, and particularly what he's going to have to say about Loki. I'm going to get canceled for my take on Move, and it's going to come from me being a scrub. Like, I play in the lower ranks, and Move is garbage in the lower ranks. It is like when you start seeing Move cards, you're like, oh, baby, this is my ability to climb just a little bit out of the abyss. So I'm going to say that this is garbage. All right?
Come on.
That Move
so that's going to pull it down.
is not very good, a package here.
Boo.
Welcome to the hello YouTube commentators who will love my rampant speculation about how their favorite game is going to fail and love my rampant speculation about how terrible Move cards are.
Bro, you need to practice Move cards. You will love it. Don't worry.
That's not his style. He will not love it. They will make him angry and not play the game for weeks.
That's about right.
So that's going to be enough to at least pull it below Double She-Hulk. Cool. Let us go on to Lockdown, which is, as of now, Professor X, Ms. Marvel, Alioth.
It's very, very strong at the moment.
Yes, it is.
I mean, if we're talking on based on strength, and it's got to be up there.
But does flexibility matter?
There aren't many counters that people. Well, there aren't many. There are some counters, but there aren't many counters that people are playing. I think it's pretty strong. I don't think I'd put it ahead of Darkhawk, but I would say it's a strong number 2 currently for me. It's about on par with Bounce Wolf.
Tobi?
And obviously they're the complete opposite of each other as well. One locks shit down so you can't bounce it. So, yeah.
I'm going to figure out how to fit Ms. Marvel and Bounce. You wait, and then we're all going to see.
Okay, for the lockdown for me, since I'm a player I'm playing more on Thanos with Alioth and Professor X, so having this package is really so powerful. Okay, having Alioth in the play is devastating. So I don't know when they will nerf this guy, but until this guy is not nerfed, I will abuse it. Until I will totally abuse this guy. So this will be my number 2.
He
Lacking one lane was, it's a winning touch.
I'm at exactly number 2 here, which is also, unless Roy vetoes something somehow, going to eliminate our first deck from the top 10. Elsa is dead.
Get out of here,
Rip.
Elsa.
Roy, are you okay with that as number 2?
Elsa is dead, yeah.
Also, Aliath doesn't need to be nerfed, but keep going.
You want me to say what I'm going to say?
No, that's it. No, say what you're going to say. That's all I have to say.
This is the Cupid shuffle of decks, like a little to the left, to the right. Never mind. Anyway, it's a very, very great deck. And I wouldn't, but it's one of those things, I don't know if this is a package, though. Like, that is maybe my one, like, criticism of its inclusion here, is it's a powerful deck. But I don't know if it's, like, something you can just, like, really slap in just sort of, like, any deck and make it better. Because I think it just kind of demands, like, I think at this point, Lockdown demands more cards being given to it for it to be consistent. But I definitely think it's in the top half. Like, I don't necessarily think it's number 2, but it's definitely like 3, 4, maybe 5. Like, it's definitely floating around in there. I think the next deck or / one card package is better than it. But I think this is definitely, like, really, really powerful.
So, the reason I consider this a package is these 3 cards go with Darkhawk. They go with Annihilus. They go with Move, and they go with Evolutionary.
They go with Move? Am I a lunatic?
Yeah, there's a really good Move version of this.
Sure. I will just trust you.
There is.
Okay.
Yes, other people here have seen it. I'm not completely insane.
Yeah, I've seen it now.
Okay.
Yeah, like it's a really good deck. Like the best versions tend to be Darkhawk because the best versions of everything run Darkhawk. But like I just feel like that this general package goes in a lot of places.
Sure.
Like you can also, like for almost any of these packages, you can build a whole deck around them, right? Like you can just say, I'm going to go like almost all in for this package and then just have an extra couple tech cards. But like, can you do this with another package is basically what I'm considering.
Okay.
Which is why, and I'm going to jump in for Loki. Loki Snowguard Collector. Quinjet's not in all the versions. I don't think Loki is a package. I think it has to be here, otherwise we're going to fight about it, and you guys can convince me it's a package or put it on the list over my objections. Completely fine. But Loki doesn't go in other decks. Loki goes in Loki decks. You can put other stuff into Loki decks once in a while, but the only thing you can really put into Loki decks without breaking them is Bounce, because that's just a bunch of one-drops that Loki's perfectly happy to run. So otherwise, I don't think Loki is a package. I think Loki is a deck unto himself. I want Loki to be a package. I've spent time trying to make Loki a package in various decks, and I don't necessarily think it just works. Devilish let's start with, is Loki a package? And then if so, we can rank it.
Are we allowed to fire it into the sun?
We can just say fire into the sun and move on.
I'm sick of playing against it. I know it's strong in the meta, and especially on Conquest, I know that I'm going to see it. I've gotten to the point where I refuse to play Loki because I don't find it fun anymore. You know, I think that it definitely needs a nerf. I don't know when we're going to see that. Hopefully they'll do something in patch next week, but I have a feeling they probably won't. Yeah, it's just like you say. Is it a package really? I mean, to me, the package is probably Loki Quinjet now that Mobius isn't really around that much.
Are you sticking that in other decks, or is that just you're playing a Loki deck?
No.
So then,
the thing is, if you're playing a Loki deck, you're trying to play their cards, not your cards. So you're not playing a Loki package. You're playing whatever your opponent's playing for cheaper. I don't know. I think it's just I have a hatred for Loki at the moment. So
no.
Yeah. Could you tell? Yeah. I don't know where I would put it. It's strong. We know it's strong. It does well in the meta, but it's just frustrating as hell to play against. So I don't know where I would stick that, to be honest with you. I know I'd like to stick it, which I've already mentioned, but
hey now.
I imagine
PG, keep it PG.
I imagine it will probably bottom out at somewhere like 3 or 4 on the list. It's better than She-Hulk. Double She-Hulk.
So you're counting it as a package that belongs on the list then?
If I have to.
You don't have to. That's what I'm saying. Okay, so you want to. You're
I would
choosing
like
to.
not.
You love Loki.
Not,
you want to.
no.
You want to make the passionate kisses with Loki. Continue.
I'd like
Tobi.
it to not exist.
Okay, for me, the Loki package was, I love playing Loki. Okay, I don't hate Loki at all. Because imagine playing Loki, give you all the cheap cards. The cheaper, the better. Okay. Snow Guard for me is the key here. Okay, because Snow Guard always saving my ass. Especially with Limbo. Okay, I got this is my story for this Loki package. I'm in the last game, the game 5. Okay, I think at the that's around 8. Around 8, yeah, around 8. And then I just pulled Snow Guard, put it down. And then I didn't use Loki at all. Okay, because the deck of the opponent is magic. She not.
Mm-hmm.
What he do is he drop magic tab turn 6. And all of the sudden, okay, I need to pull this guy. I need to bait him as much as possible. So he knows already that I'm Loki. So as turn 6 start already, so I'm counting all the stats to get the win. Okay. Then dropping the Eagle for Snow Guard to shut down the Limbo. Because for sure he will pass. For sure he will pass in turn 6. And he will drop in turn 7 all the big badass. So what I did, I perfectly pull it out, turn 6, snap, and done. So for me, this Loki package will be my top 3.
So we have 2 answers for top 3.
Yeah,
I have it off the list, so it's going to be in number 3 if we're there. But Roy,
I mean, to answer Glazer's question about is Loki a package, I think it's really difficult to judge because Loki's been changed so many times since it got printed that
once
wasn't it changed twice. I thought wasn't it changed twice?
3.5 to 4.5.
3.5
Only changed a little.
I thought it was changed twice for some reason.
Well, Mobius was changed and Collector was changed, so it feels different.
Yeah. Right, it feels different. The cards around it were changed. So I think at a time, maybe it was like inarguably a package. Like it felt like everything in YouTube was like Loki this, Loki this, Loki that. I still don't think there's a lot of truth to that. I think in many ways, like Loki himself is a package. And going by the definition that Glazer did for his favorite one so far, right? Which was our last one. Like going by that definition with Lockdown, I think Loki fits the definition of package, and I think it's one of the most powerful, just simply because Loki gets you out of so many difficult situations and creates novel play experiences all the time. And so that makes it both really powerful and really fun. Maybe not to play against, but to play. And that, I think, to me, again, puts this in the top. I think Darkhawk, by just the sheer definition of the word of like card package, kind of can't be taken off, but belongs number 2 right now. But we're going to get to Shuri soon, and will eventually be number 3.
So I have it below Lockdown, but ahead of Bounce Wolf, since I have to count it as a package, apparently. Roy has it before Lockdown. So we're going to do the quick Devilish and Tobi before or after Lockdown. Devilish?
Lockdown's 2 currently, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd have it after Lockdown.
Okay. Tobi?
Yeah, same thing. After that.
Okay. So okay. Loki is the new number 3, and I hate everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right, can I go first?
Loki.
Can I go first this next one, Glazer?
Yeah.
Get the shit out of here, man. Just let's just do it.
What is this? What kind of package is this?
Yeah, get out. Next slide. Just let's go. Come on. Let's go. Come on. Get your man thing out of here, Glazer. All right, Glazer got his man thing out of here. All right, let's do. All right.
The She-Not package, which is literally just Magic, She-Hulk, and Infinite.
Have we not just done this one with double She-Hulk?
It's not the same package. It's not the same package.
It's not the same package, for sure.
Friend of the show.
It's in my deck.
friend of the show,
Super Tech God is angry
would disagree. I mean, I don't think that this is like one of the most powerful things to be doing or flexible things to be doing right now. I mean, we have to do 10. It belongs to.
We have 10.
We have 10.
What's in 10th place at the moment?
Hitmonkey. Is it above Hitmonkey? I think it's above Hitmonkey.
Yes, it's above Hitmonkey.
It's not above Evo. Are we all okay with that? And we can move on.
We definitely know it's above Glazer's Man Thing. That's all that's really important.
I don't think it's above. It's not above Evo. It's above Hitmonkey.
So we're okay with it not being above Evo. It is our current number 10. It will get kicked off the list as soon as we hit Shuri. Got it. Oh shit! Look what we hit. And look at that. And yes, that the size of the Red Skull is on purpose.
What happened to Red Skull?
Fuck Red Skull.
Fuck Red Skull.
So small.
That's the official snap judgment's opinion about Red Skull.
Yep. So Shuri Red Skull Taskmaster is probably number 2.
Number 2. Yeah.
Pretty inarguably.
Number 2. Yeah. This is number 2. So competitive.
All right. Yep. I don't know if you have played it yet, but I'm gonna forget his name, and I'm so tired. I want to say Gosh and Lambie have a Shuri Annihilus, and it's so good. It's so good.
I was playing it earlier on stream.
Did you?
The one case that could be made is this is the only package I think that can make an argument for being above Darkhawk. Like, I don't think it is above Darkhawk.
Yes.
But I think you can make an argument that isn't like full of shit about this being a better package.
So on ladder, I think there's actually a really good argument for that. But Conquest and tournaments both exist, and Darkhawk's won tournaments for like 10 straight months. It's only been out for 8 straight months, so like that's really crazy.
Yeah, that's correct. Last 2 days ago, I just used Darkhawk.
Darkhawk has only been out. I think it's been out longer than that now, right?
9 months, I guess. February to November, right?
February.
Oh wait, maybe it came out in January.
I thought Darkhawk came out now.
I thought it came
December. And then Zabu came out in January, right?
Oh, yeah, December. December 1st, Darkhawk, and then the next season is Zabu.
Oh, okay. I was wrong.
Yeah, right, we're at a year of Darkhawk. Darkhawk dominance. More like Marvel Darkhawk. All right, next one, Glazer.
Yeah, okay.
All right, we are at Thor's. I don't think we're putting this on the list, but it's so cute. I had to. It's Jane, Thor, and Wasp. It's not better than She-Not, but it's an adorable package.
I think that this is more of a deck than a package, but yeah, I get it.
Yeah, this is a deck.
I used to play these guys regularly in my Evo Lockjaw deck and loved that. And that was the first deck that got me Infinite.
Cool.
That's why it's a package to me, because it's Evo Lockjaw and then the Hitmonkey thing. And those two decks don't have a lot in common besides these 3 cards as a package.
Sure.
Okay.
So for me, sentimental value, yes. Is it in the top 10? No.
Not going above She-Not. But look, this is some of the best art.
Yeah.
Because we've got Hip, Wasp, Throg, and then the Jane that's coming soon that's gorgeous.
So gorgeous, yeah.
All right.
So no top 10 for me too.
Yeah. All right. I tried to do 2 Wong packages. That's weird. Oh.
Get that Wong shit out of here, Glazer. Like,
all right,
I love, like, Wong is like the card that caused me to fall in love with Marvel Snap, but this deck sucks. Like, and so this package sucks. Like, it's
okay. Stop yelling at me, right? All right, we have a top 10 as of now, and then we will get to the next part of the episode because I can't handle all the yelling. All right, number 1 is Darkhawk, surprising everyone who's listening. Number 2 is Shuri, surprising everyone who's listening. Number 3 is Lockdown. Number 4 is omitted. It's Loki. Number 5 is Bounce Wolf. Number 6, far higher than I expected it until we talked it through, is Double She-Hulk. Number 7 is Move. Number 8 is Brood. Oh shit, I can't count. Number 9 is Annihilus. And number 10 is Evo, as we disappoint Super Tech God by kicking off his She-Not. All good? Any final thoughts about the list?
Yeah, so good. All right. No comment about that.
Pretty cool.
All right, that brings us to our last segment of every episode, which is the variant of the week. Glazer picked Invisible Woman, which, spoiler, I'm just going to say, I love Sue Storm. She is one of my favorite Marvel characters of all time. She has some absolutely terrible variants. Like, most of her variants are just, like, god-awful. But we did pick the 3 best that are available to put up here. So we will start actually here on the right side. Who picked Alex Ross as their variant of the week?
I picked Alex Ross because Art Germ variants are just bad Alex Ross variants. I said it and I meant it.
That's fair. All right. Who picked Peach? Which is the second best, I think.
Yeah, I picked Peach because as you see his art, you can feel those emotions while she was painting. So yeah, Peach Momoko. Actually, I'm a Peach fan Momoko, so yeah. I choose
good taste.
Invisible. Yeah,
agreed. She's great. The art's great. All right, Devilish, are you and I though true men of exquisite taste here? And we have this Art Germ variant here. Did you pick it too, my friend?
Absolutely, I did indeed. It is one. Unfortunately, I do not have myself. I do have the Alex Ross one though. So yeah. Invisible Woman variants, as you say, there's not many that are even out at the moment. There's a couple of banging variants that are due out early next year, I believe, as well, which look really, really good, and they're on Marvel Snap-alone. So the ink pulp looks great. But yeah, I couldn't look past the Art Germ one, if I'm honest, out of the ones that are currently out and available. So absolutely my fave.
Yeah, for me, it was between this one and Peach. And I think this one just sort of captures sort of Sue Storm at her best. Like, I like Alex Ross as Sue Storm, but I think just the pose of that Alex Ross is terrible. Like, I just think it's just, like, not a great Alex Ross piece of art. For Alex Ross, it's actually a little horny, which is weird. Because most of his art
How is it horny?
What? Just, like, look at the legs. And for Alex Ross,
okay.
It's a little...
Boys will be boys.
All right.
You can see everything.
And so... Like I'm like not about that. I think poor Sue here deserves a little bit more to get the other aspects of her character. I think the Art Gem does a pretty decent job of capturing that without the Peach kind of like melancholiness that I think that the Peach has, which is a different take. So anyway, these are all great art though. Definitely better than most of the garbage Invisible Woman arts that are out there. All right, that brings us.
Sorry. This segment was brought to us by Quinny Equinox. Props to Quinny, the Invisible Woman Queen.
Sure.
Next.
Okay. I didn't realize we were sponsoring these segments. Okay.
I just sponsored that one because Quinny's favorite card is Invisible Woman.
Awesome. Okay. She's a great card. Sue's a great character. All right. Anyway. All right, Devilish. Remind our loyal listeners and loyal viewers where they can find you.
Yep. So I, from a social media point of view, I'm on Twitter, and that is at devilish_plays with the S. And over on Twitch, it's twitch.tv/devilish_play without the S. I stream, I'm a UK streamer. I'm approaching my mid-40s now, so I started pretty late for a streamer, if you would say. But I'm really, really enjoying it, still learning, and I think one of the key things that my community love about it is that I don't take myself so seriously. I like having a laugh. The chat absolutely rip me to bits at times, and we just have some fun with it. So I'm all about enjoying having some fun and just chilling out. So if you're into that sort of thing, you just want to come along and watch me do stupid stuff, and realize that content creators also do stupid stuff, then pop by one of the streams. I'll be pleased to see you.
My turn. All right. So no offense to anybody. I think I've been really excited for a lot of our guests. Devilish was my number one most wanted guest for like the past 3 months. And we could never make it work because it's 4 a.m. for him right now, 3:30, something stupid. Don't tell me, I'm just going to be sad. But I've wanted him on this podcast desperately. I absolutely love his content. I'm a fan. I think he's one of the nicest and smartest people in Marvel Snap, and that you cannot go wrong with following him. So I strongly urge you to all do so.
Thank you. Appreciate you, mate.
Tobi, how can our people find you?
Okay, you can find me at Twitter at Tobi1Kenobi, and I tweet 3 times a day, as much as possible, 3 times a day at Snapcaster _ Tobi. So I'm trying to more be competitive in Marvel Snap because I started very early. I know that I know how to stay grounded. So I acknowledge that there are a lot of great players out there, and I seek to learn from them. And then I can be better. I have positive outlook, and I carry this game too. Okay. So I know how to manage my emotions when playing, especially when tilting. Okay, tilting is the hardest part of the game. Okay, it's very easy. When tilting, it's very easy to carry the way with emotions, frustration, and mental aspect when you're on the losing streak. So I know how to get back in the game and keep it together. And I would love to share that in the community. So if you want me to follow me and to know me better, just follow me on Twitch and Twitter. That will be great. That's all.
All right. So Tobi embodies that we're one community. He's halfway across the world from most of our audience. And every time we talk, it feels like we're right at home. Like, he is one of the best things about the community. He keeps us united. If you care about Marvel Snap as a community, this is the type of person you should be following. And I'm going to tell you, I spend more time with him on Twitter than on his streams because, again, I'm in the other side of the world. So when he's streaming, I am often dead ass asleep. But he is like the best Twitter follow, and you need to go follow him. And you should definitely check out his Twitch, especially if you live in a part of the world where you can actually watch it.
Thanks, man.
Absolutely. Awesome. All right, friends. Just a quick reminder of where you can find us on social media. We're on Twitter /X at SnapJudgeCast. We are on the Marvel Snap Zone Discord as the official podcasting partner and official podcast of Marvel Snap Zone. Please go and join the Discord from the link in the description of this episode below. All right. So we are also available via email at snapjudgmentspodcast@gmail.com or on Mastodon with snapjudgments with an E at tabletop.vip. And last but not least, we are on YouTube at Snap Judgments Pod, where you can find Glazer's daily snap takes on YouTube. All right. Quick programming note for our loyal listeners and loyal fans. We are generally going to be moving towards later in the week publication dates, Fridays, sometimes Saturdays, for the foreseeable future. Please let us know what you think of that. And don't forget us, and make sure that you keep watching us on YouTube and listening to us on your friendly neighborhood podcaster, even as we settle into a new date starting next week on a more permanent basis. All right. On that note, Devilish, I want to thank you once again for joining us this week.
Thank you, mate.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me. As I say, it's been a long time coming.
Yeah. It was very nice. Love you guys.
You're very welcome, Tobi. All right, Glazer, as always, it is so wonderful to record this show with you each and every week, my friend.
Peace and love, everybody.
All right, friends. That brings us to the end of yet another episode of Snap Judgments. As always, stay safe, make good choices, and keep on snapping.